Nope. No. Not a chance. I'd rather watch every single episode of Sesame Street in one sitting. Alright, it looks like we're building a computer ourselves, but the more important question is, should we be building a computer right now? But before we get into it, please? CPUs are tricky because you have to think about the cost of the compatible motherboard along with the CPU price. Something like an LGA 1700 motherboard that supports 12th gen Intel will be a lot more expensive than an AM4 board which supports the last 5 years of Ryzen CPUs. But if you're looking to future-proof your computer a bit, the LGA 1700 will still support 13th gen Intel, while the new Ryzen 7000 series won't be supported on the old AM4 architecture. Your two options are saving money now by going for something like a Ryzen 3000 or 5000 series CPU with a cheaper motherboard, but sadly this would lead to no path for upgradability, or you could spend more money on the LGA 1700 series motherboard and CPU knowing that you have at least one generation of expansion on the Intel platform. Different people have different needs, and if you're more of a casual gamer, the upgrade path does not mean nearly as much. Some CPUs that we recommend are the Intel i3 2100F, the i7 12700F, and the Ryzen 5 5600X. To round out everything involving the motherboard, we need to talk about RAM. The only thing we ask is to stay away from DDR5. It does not give nearly enough of a performance boost to constitute the dramatic increase in price. But over time, DDR5 will be more of a mainstream price along with an increase in efficiency. Speaking of waiting a really long time, GPUs are in a really weird place. Not only are they getting cheaper because crypto miners can't afford rent, the supply shortage is almost completely gone, with almost every single card being widely available and those cards getting even closer to MSRP. So current GPUs are in a really good place right now, but you would be buying a GPU only a few months before the RTX 4000 series is released this fall. This is actually a problem for everyone, because if you want the best possible card, you need to wait, and if you want the last generation card for much cheaper, you also need to wait. If you're buying a new GPU, we'd recommend the RTX 3070 and the RX 6600. And if you're looking to buy a used GPU, we'd recommend the RTX 2060 and the GTX 1080. The type of GPU you put in your computer is important, but if you don't have the right power supply, it doesn't matter. Buying a power supply that allows you to have enough extra wattage for future upgrades is extremely important. And if these leaked numbers are correct, we would suggest a really strong power supply. We would suggest staying away from any used power supply. They are the perfect fire starter. So if this used power supply has something wrong with it and you weren't around, let's just say you'll get a newly remodeled house. New power supplies aren't that expensive either. As long as you stick with the trusted brands and look for an 80+ certification, you're usually good to go. We suggest you always buy storage new as well. The reason being the prices are not bad at all for something like a 1TB or 2TB M.2. One good M.2 SSD for your operating system and a few games should be a priority. The extra $20 you save by buying it used is not worth the risk, especially when it comes to storage. At the end of the day, if you're an enthusiast, wait till fall. But if you have been waiting, there's no time like the present. Shop responsibly.